Okay, so we're discussing classification of carbohydrate with monosaccharide, oligo, and poly. Whereas in last video we discussed the classification of monosaccharide now. Monosaccharide is what? It's a polymer of carbohydrates. Okay, so we discussed that it could be from 3 to 7 carbon triose, which make three structure, 3 carbon tetrose, pentose, hexose, and heptose. Hexose is the most abundantly, like most used, whereas rarely used is this tetrose, which you will find on very less amount. Till this we were done, so I'm gonna move a little further more. A few very important points. So if we just talk about only first one is monosaccharide. Okay, so in this monosaccharide you'll find a basic formula which would be CN H2N H2N, which would be added and would be formed ON. This should be very much empirical formula, very much clear, and very important point. If I just ask you, this is important MCQs which have been like it was in 2018 past paper of MDK, I remember. So which one is the most sweetest sugar? So that is monosaccharide. Monosaccharide is sweetest. It's like one of the sweetest sugar. Whereas if you compare, you will find a less sweet than monosaccharide. So that will be oligosaccharide, which is a little less sweet. But you'll find a tasteless. Tasteless means sweetless. This is tasteless and sweetless. I'm talking about what? Tasteless. I'm just talking about the polysaccharide. Okay. This is very important point. Okay, so it tastes less sweet, and you'll find one more point here. You'll see carbon C6, not carbon but the glucose C6H12O6. Glucose is very important to study these all. Glucose is very important because without glucose nothing is possible. If plant will not make the food, plant needs glucose, they make, but still glucose needs 6 carbon. But what if I just convert it into empirical formula? 6 1 is 6, 6 2 is 12, again 6 1 is 6. So you will find empirical formula which would be equal to CH2O. So what is this? This is the complete empirical formula of glucose. Glucose empirical formula. Okay. So and another point which I will discuss, that these are the soluble. You'll find these oligosaccharides which are less soluble. Like these are present. Oligo is present in the middle. So it would be like if I just write first one is sweetest, second one less sweetest, and third will be tasteless. If I write first is soluble, so this would be less soluble, but it would be soluble because we cannot say it's not soluble because third one is remaining. So third one is insoluble. Okay, this should be very much clear, and very important point I'm going to discuss, which you will not find everywhere by the way. This carbohydrates, which would be which helps in the storage. Polysaccharides help in the storage storage of what? Like you find glycogen glycogen simply here. Let me just move this. Glycogen that is a stored form of what? This is again an MCQ, is very important. A stored form of what? A stored form of, like, this animal. This is stored from an animal and some bacteria as well. So glycogen is very important. And you'll find starch. So starch is what? You'll find starch that would be stored form in what? That will be stored form in plants. So when we ask what's the stored form of plant, then will be starch. If we talk about structure, and yes, in polysaccharide you'll find some more structure. Like this is a structure component which helps in the cellulose formation. Chitin, peptide, glycan, these all are the structure. Okay, these are also formed by the polysaccharide. Okay, here in this monosaccharide you'll also find one more thing, that mono that glucose, fructose, maltose.